Let's talk about energetics, the how and why you can manifest what is on your heart, your deepest desires, even when you feel like crap. Okay? Seriously. So let's talk about why this is possible and how the energetics of all of this work. So, first, the law of attraction, I just want to say, calling it the law of attraction is super problematic, I think, because it implies that we have to attract things to us, that we have to magnetize, right? And that's actually not really how it works. So, think of it this way. When we have an intention, when we have a desire on our heart, when we have a vision, everything that we need to be able to take the next action step in the direction of that vision already exists. It's already available to us, right? So the inspiration, the idea, the intuitive guidance, the person we're supposed to talk to, the whatever the action step is, right? It's already available to us. And the problem isn't that we need to attract the opportunity. The problem is that we are oblivious to the opportunity. We can't see it, right? So this is equivalent to being in a room with all of the different radio waves and not having your radio dial turned into the right program, right? Or any program at all, right? So all of it's already in the room. And as we turn the dial to the information that we're wanting to receive, then we can perceive that which is already in the room, right? So really, it's more about awareness. It's more about perception. And if we can think of it in those terms, then I think it changes everything, because we're not these magnets trying to attract things to us. We are trying to be open and aware to seeing what is already around us, what is already in us, what is already here available for us, right? So that's the first piece. The next piece is understanding how the mind works, okay, and vibration. So we have a subconscious mind and we have a conscious mind. And together they create our vibration, right? And the subconscious mind is a big part of our vibration. It's a big part of what we put out into the world, right? Vibrationally. Our conscious mind is too, but the subconscious mind is like the default, right? The conscious mind is when we're deciding how we want to feel, when we're deciding how we want to think, and we're deciding how we want to behave. That's the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is all the default stuff. It's all the stuff that we've been programmed to kind of be the default mode, right? So when we want to program the subconscious mind and get the vibration at that state consciously, then we decide, okay, here's what I want to learn or what I want to embody. And then through constant spaced repetition and emotional impact, we intentionally program ourselves to learn that skill, right? So a great example is driving a car. When we're first learning how to drive a car, our conscious mind has to be very aware of this, everything we're learning, right? All of the different things. We have to be very aware of how much pressure we're putting on the gas, very aware of just every single detail, right? Until we've practiced enough through constant spaced repetition, we've practiced enough that those behaviors start to become automatic. And at that point, we can get into the car, we can drive, and our awareness can actually be expanded where we can do other things simultaneously. We can carry on a conversation with the person next to us. We can turn the radio dial and listen to some music, right? We don't have to be at 10 and 2 and really focused on exactly everything we're doing because it's habituated, right? So what that means for us energetically is that we can actually consciously choose to program our subconscious mind to think and act in the direction that we want to go. And we can do that through constant spaced repetition and through emotions, right? But here's the kicker. The emotion does not have to be a feel-good emotion. And in traditional law of attraction teachings, they will say you have to feel good if you want to attract good. And I get it, but this was a huge point of confusion for me, because for me, when I came to the law of attraction as like, somebody who was seeking for answers and seeking for a way through some struggle, I wasn't feeling good. And so that was a big problem. Like, how do I make myself feel good when I don't feel good? I can pretend I feel good, but you can't really fool the energy. You can't fool vibration. So it wasn't really working, right? So the idea here is embracing the emotional state that you're in and accepting that you can program the subconscious mind even when you feel like crap. That through constant spaced repetition and that emotion, no matter what that emotion is, you can still program the subconscious mind. So when you have a desire on your heart and you have the intention to move in that direction, you can say, okay, even though I feel like crap, I am aware through universal laws that everything that I need is here. The idea that I need, the information, the connections, the people, the resources, the intuitive guidance, it's all here for me, even when I feel like crap. So through knowing that, I can say, okay, so I'm going to practice being open and receptive to seeing that information and receiving that guidance, even though I don't feel great, even though I don't feel super happy, even though I feel heavy or stressed. I'm going to make the choice consciously to be open to seeing the possibilities. I'm going to be willing to perceive and be aware of all these other opportunities and options that are here in this room, right? So as an example, it could be beauty. It could be quiet or stillness or peace, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm feeling all this stress and tension, but I am aware that in this space exists beauty somewhere. And instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like crap, and now I'm only looking through the lens of feeling like crap, so all I can perceive are all of these things that are giving me evidence and proof that like, yep, everything is just awful. Instead, we can say, well, I feel this way, and even though I feel this way, I know that through universal laws, there's beauty here. Somewhere here, there is beauty, and I am willing to perceive it. I am willing to open up my heart and my mind and my eyes to be able to see and perceive the beauty and the opportunity, right? Even though I don't feel well, it's here in this room if I'm willing to see it. I don't have to attract it. I don't have to magnetize it. I don't have to draw it in. It's literally right here. And I can attune to it and become aware of it and then harmonize with it, right? So if you have an intention and a desire on your heart and you're like, okay, so I know that the very next step for me to take is available for me. And even though I feel bad, I'm willing to be open to that next action step. And if I were to just imagine for a moment that I actually knew what that action step was, if I were to imagine for a moment that I wasn't confused, that there was a part of me that knew the next step, and there was a part of me that the intuition just knew the next step and could see exactly how I could take the next step right here and now. If I could just imagine, what would that feel like? Okay, so even though I feel like crap right now, I'm going to imagine that there is an action step that I can take to move in the direction of my vision. And I'm going to imagine that I know exactly what that action step is, right? And then if I were to pretend that I knew exactly what to do, what comes to mind? Notice what's the action step. And then as you become aware of a possible action step, ask yourself if you're willing to take that action step. If you're not willing to take the action step and say, nope, I feel like crap, I can't do an action step that big, then dial it back and say, okay, so there's still other action steps that are available to me. What else would there be? If I were going to pretend that I knew what else I could do that was even a babyer action step, what could I do, right? And as that idea comes to you, even though I don't feel well, even though I'm anxious, even though I'm tired, even though I'm in pain, even though I have all of these sensations in my body, I can see that here is this one action step that I could take that would move me in the direction of my vision. And so I'm going to consciously choose to take that action, even though I don't feel the best. Even though I don't feel that great, I'm going to move in the direction of my vision consciously, right? And then through the constant spaced repetition and the emotion, even though it's not the greatest, most feel-good, happy emotion, we are then programming the subconscious mind to say, hey, I am somebody who automatically sees opportunity. I am somebody who automatically recognizes opportunity and starts moving in that direction. That is my default programming, right? So we are using the power of our emotion, even if it's not a great emotion, even if it doesn't feel good, we can still use it in the direction of our good, right? So instead of feeling all this angst about the emotion, we can say, hey, you know what? I have a lot of emotion, and having a lot of emotion means I have a lot of energy, and having a lot of energy means I have a lot of power right now, and I can move that power and use that power in the direction that I want to go. And I can do that because the laws tell me that everything I need, the inspiration, the idea, the inspired guidance, the people, it's all here for me. The next baby step is available to me. It's available if I can see it. And even though I feel awful, I'm willing to see it. I'm willing to imagine that I know what that action step is. And when that action step becomes even just a little bit clear to me, I'm willing to move in that direction, right? And then we create the habit of moving in the direction and using the power of our emotion to program ourselves to move in the direction of our vision. And then that becomes our identity. That becomes our primary default program, right? That becomes our identity. It becomes our subconscious programming of like, I am someone who moves in the direction of my vision. And then you know what happens when we move in the direction of our vision? We start to feel better because we're being congruent with that part of our heart and soul that really wants to move in the direction of our vision, right? So even though we feel like crap, we can say, I'm still going to use the power and the energy of that emotion to support me in moving towards my vision. And that is awesome, right? That is powerful, it is impactful, and life-changing, right? And then we don't have to be battling that emotion. We don't have to make that emotion wrong, or we don't have to feel bad about it. We don't have to resist it. We can just say, hey, okay, anxiety, I've been expecting you. Here we go. We're having some anxiety right now. And in this room, there is still beauty, and I'm willing to see the beauty. And there's an opportunity for me to become aware of that beauty. So anxiety, let's keep our eyes open and our hearts open for beauty. Oh, you know what? There's beauty in that direction. I'm gonna move in that direction. I can see outside my window that there are some beautiful flowers. I'm gonna move in the direction of those flowers, right? And I'm going to go be in harmony and resonance in the direction of that beauty, right? Even though I have that anxiety as my partner in this journey, right? And then again, like I keep saying, the constant spaced repetition, that's why I'm being repetitious, right? The constant spaced repetition of, oh yeah, I am someone who moves in the direction of my vision. Now it's becoming automatic. Now it's becoming a default, right? And it's not about force. It's not about overriding the emotion and saying, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. It's about saying, okay, I'm feeling fear. And yet I know that there are opportunities for me here in this room. And I am willing to attune to them, to be inspired by them, to follow the intuitive guidance around them, and move in that direction with fear right alongside me. Just flow, just movement, just awareness, right? Just awareness. That's what it's all about. So really, I hope this was helpful for you to really see like the power of emotions is there even if the emotion doesn't feel great. right? And as we move with the emotion in the direction that our heart is calling us to move, we become aware of so many beautiful things, so many blessings, so many opportunities. And as we become aware, then we just see more and more and more, right? And it's like suddenly like, oh my gosh, there's all these things that I could never see before. But when we're being in the constant spaced repetition of fear and just all of this awful news and all of these painful things, and that's all we can see, then that becomes our default programming. And then we become oblivious to the beauty, not because it's not there, but because we can't see it. Because now, through constant spaced repetition and the emotion of fear, we've been programmed to not be able to see it, but it is still there in the room. So now you can use whatever that emotion is, and you can use that emotion in constant spaced repetition to claim and recognize and perceive all of the beauty that's available, all of the abundance that's available, and really program yourself to move in that direction, no matter what you're feeling. Right? So I hope this was helpful. I'm doing a series on the universal laws and what we've been taught are negative emotions, because this has been a struggle for me. I really want to help people understand that our feelings are okay and they don't have to hold us back. We can actually use them in the direction of our heart's desire. We can use them to learn and grow and integrate more and more of who we truly authentically are. And it's all part of being human, and it's all beautiful. And yes, it can be painful at times, and it's still okay. You're still okay. You're not broken. I'm not broken. And yeah, that's what I have for today. So I will link to the playlist for this series in the description below. I would love to hear your comments if you have questions you'd like my perspective around, or if you'd like to share any of your experiences with feeling like crap and creating what you want to desire anyway. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.